Pope Francis made a whirlwind visit to the revered Catholic shrine of Fatima in Portugal, where Virgin Mary appeared to 3 shepherd children in 1917. They said she gave them 3 messages, and a third secret more recently revealed to be the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II, which happened on May 13, 1981. As we approach the 110th anniversary of the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima, the current global situation continues to push many to demand clearer explanations of the third secret of Fatima that she benevolently shared with the 3 young shepherds in 1917. With a clear understanding of his papal position in the midst of these prophecies, Pope Francis has finally revealed some truths about the third secret of Fatima. What is the significance of these truths to humanity's future? What significance do these papal revelations hold, and how can we respond to them? Join us in this video as we unravel everything you need to know. On May 13, 1917, in Cova de Iria, 3 children were tending their flock of sheep when they witnessed the supernatural apparition of a beautiful young lady. Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco were given the secrets of Fatima on July 13, 1917, but it was kept secret until July 1941, when Sister Lucia shared the first 2 secrets as directed by the bishop. Much later, Saint Lucia revealed the third of the secrets that have led to various controversies since its release. Now the Pope has shared some profound revelations on the secrets to guide us on what is next. Before we delve into the details of what the Pope shared, let's explore some details about how the secrets came to be. Custodians of the secrets of the Fatima. The secret of the Fatima was revealed to 3 children on the 13th of May in 1917. They were young shepherds of Aljustrel village, somewhere around Fatima in Portugal. While they tended some of their flocks at the Cova de Iria, they experienced something unusual. It was about noon. They had just finished reciting the rosary, and they decided to have a playtime building little stone houses. At the time, these 3 cousin shepherds were aged 10, 9, and respectively. The first was Lucia de Jesus, and her cousins Francisco and Jacinta. These 3 children had a spectacular experience when a great light suddenly appeared before them. It wasn't familiar, and they made to leave because the only thing their little minds could relate to it was that the bright light was lightning. Then again, another flash of light appeared in the clearing before them, and this time, a lady described as brighter than the sun appeared before them, just above a small holm oak. She had a white rosary hanging from her hands, and she began to speak to them. Now, what did she tell them? The lady wanted them to come to the Cova de Iria on every 13th day of the month for the next 5 months. The children went back in the first 3 months, but after they began sharing their experience of the lady's visit with others, they were believed to be telling lies. This made the mayor of Nova de Urem take them away in a bid to make them confess that they were lying. Outside the designated meeting site with the lady, they had another unexpected apparition while grazing their flock in Valinhos, another village about 500 meters from their village, on August 19th. The earliest known apparition of the Virgin Mary isn't quite an apparition at all. It's more a bilocation. Our Lady appeared while she was still living. Subsequently, they returned to the Cova de Iria on the 13th of September and October. By the last visit, the news of the apparitions had spread, and about 70,000 people were present on the last day to experience the apparition with them. In the presence of the people, the lady told the children that she was Our Lady of the Rosary, and requested that they build a chapel in her honor right on that site. This chapel was built and named the Chapel of the Apparitions, and is still on the site. But did this happen on mere accounts of the children's experience? Absolutely not. Most people didn't believe them. At that time, about 30,000 people gathered to experience the apparition as the children claimed. This made the Blessed Lady promise the children that a miracle would happen the next month, so that all who doubted would believe them. In fulfillment of this, after a rainy day, they saw the sun emerge behind the clouds like a disk, bright with various beautiful colors that were easy to look at, which was in itself a miracle, as no one can look at the sun shining with such intensity without it being a miracle. After this, it spun like a fireball, as though it would fall to the ground for 10 minutes. This nearly unbelievable miracle was witnessed by thousands of people, and it became known as the miracle of the sun. Everybody was saying that if the miracle did not happen, the whole family would die. And so he stayed home. He was afraid. And because he was afraid to die, he wasn't there when the miracle of the sun occurred. These experiences led to the acceptance of the first, second, and third secrets of Fatima that the lady shared with the children. So, what were these secrets? You're about to find out. Unveiling the secrets of Fatima. While 3 children received the secrets from the lady, only one of them was able to share what the lady said to them. Shortly after the apparition experience, something devastating happened in Fatima, leaving only Sister Lucia to recount the secrets that the lady had shared with her and her cousins. Francisco and Jacinta had died 1 year apart from each other due to the outbreak of the flu in Fatima. Although severely ill, Francisco spent most of his years after the vision offering his life as a penance to console the Lord despite his health. Jacinta also suffered a similar fate as she spent her time praying and offering her sufferings for praying for peace in the world, the unsaved, and the Holy Father. When they died in 1919 and 1920 respectively, Francisco was initially buried in the parish cemetery, and Jacinta was buried in her family tomb and later interred at the parish cemetery. By 1930, the Catholic Church declared that the miracle of the sun was worthy of belief. Later, in 1952, a tomb was prepared in the basilica at Covadiria, where they were buried to the right and left of the main altar respectively. They became beatified in 1979, and they were declared venerable by Pope John Paul II on the 13th of May 1989. Lucia, on the other hand, survived the flu, and by 1921, she joined the College of Villar and was sent to Tui. She made her confession as a nun on October 3, 1934. 7 years later, she wrote in her memoir, The Secret of the Fatima, that she received alongside her late cousins over 2 decades earlier. Now let's look at the first secret. The first secret was a sea of fire that the lady showed them. It seemed to be beneath the earth, and she saw souls and demons in the fire. They were floating in the blazing fire like transparent burning embers. The flames of the fire made them rise into the air and fall back without weight, yet amidst shrieks and groans of pain. The souls had a human form, but the demons looked terrifying like unknown animals and were black yet transparent. She described the sight as terrifying. After this vision lasted, the lady made them know that there was something that could be done to save many souls from going to hell, for wars to end, and for peace to reign. She told them that this would happen if people stopped offending God, but if not, something worse would happen. Truly, the fulfillment of her requests marked the end of the First World War, which was currently raging at the time. The lady shared the second secret with the children, telling them to devote themselves to her Immaculate Heart. It made the children so happy, knowing that her heart would be their refuge and lead them to God. They would often sing happily while picking wildflowers, calling on Sweet Mary to be their salvation, convert sinners, and save their souls from hell. Do you wish to offer yourself to God? To endure all the suffering He may please to send you, to help atone for the sins by which He is offended, and to ask for the conversion of sinners? She made them understand that God intended to establish the world's devotion to her Immaculate Heart. She promised to be with them always and comfort them and lead them to God through her heart. She guaranteed them that her Immaculate Heart would triumph in the end, ensuring that they were facing the route to heaven. She shared with the seers that a worse war would break out during the pontificate of Pius X. She also gave them a sign to prove it. They would see an unknown light illuminating a night as a sign that God was about to punish the world with wars, famine, and persecution for all of its crimes. The only way to prevent this from happening was to consecrate Russia to her Immaculate Heart and offer the communion of reparation on the first Saturdays. Upon heeding her request, peace would be restored and Russia would be converted. Without this, the world could expect wars, persecutions of the Church, and martyrdoms. If the Holy Father consecrated Russia to him, the world would enjoy a period of peace, she said. Now that we have the first two secrets, let's move to the last one, the third secret of Fatima. When Lucia shared the third secret, she wrote it in a sealed envelope because although she was compelled to share it by her bishop, she didn't think it was time to reveal it yet, as she felt it should be left till a much later time, when the secret would have a proper context to be explained. After about 19 years, the sealed letter was opened in 1960, but it wasn't revealed until about 40 years later, in the year 2000. In the vision, she saw an angel with a flaming sword, and the flames flashed as though they would set the world ablaze. The angel was on the lady's left, and held the sword in his left hand. The fury of the flames that emanating from the sword was swamped in the splendor of the lady's radiance from the direction of her right hand. At that, the angel kept shouting for penance. Then an immense light appeared before them. She saw an image of someone who looked like the bishop dressed in white in immense light, similar to how people appear in a mirror when they pass in its front. From their knowledge, they had the presumption that the person was the Holy Father. Now, what they see next will shock you. Next, they saw various people of religious caliber and ranks, bishops, priests, men and women, all going up a steep mountain, and on it was a huge cross hewn from the trunks of a cork tree. As the Father walked on in pain and sorrow, he walked through a big city that was half in ruins, and with trembling, he prayed for the corpse he met on his way up the cross. On getting to the cross, a group of soldiers fired bullets and arrows at him, and he died. Similarly, all the other people were killed at the foot of the cross. Two angels standing beneath the arms of the cross held a crystal aspersorium, and they gathered the blood of those who were martyred in it, sprinkling their souls as they made their way to God. On the 13th of May 1981, exactly 64 years after the first Marian apparition, an assassination attempt on the life of Pope John Paul II occurred. The perpetrator, Ali Aga, fired bullets at the Holy Father 4 times in a row. This later led to an intense 5-hour surgical operation in a bid to save the Pope's life. Yet as the Pope began to recover, he spoke from his hospital bed that he had forgiven the brother who struck him. It wasn't until 2 months after that the Pope was able to return home. Now, could this be the fulfillment of the third secret of Fatima? The Pope attributed his miraculous escape from the near-death experience to the kindness of the Virgin Mary. He visited the shrine of Fatima in Portugal the following year to present the bullet that almost took his life as a gesture of thanks. It was later welded into the crown of the Queen's statue, as it found an empty space at the union of the 8 stems that made up the crown. Some have attributed these miraculous events to be the fulfillment of the third secret of Fatima. As a matter of fact, the Vatican reported in year 2000 that everything concerning the third secret had been fulfilled. But guess what? It didn't end there. Later, Pope Benedict XVI shared profound insight into the third secret when he was a cardinal. Then Cardinal Ratzinger, he shared that there was no great mystery to be revealed, and neither was the future unveiled. Disappointing as these might seem when compared to the scary details of the revelation, he shared that the purpose of the vision wasn't to paint a picture of the future as one that could not be irrevocably fixed, but rather meant to mobilize the forces of change in the right direction. He further debunked the claim that the person who attempted to assassinate the Holy Father was acting based on a divine agenda. It also cleared the air about Ali Agar's lack of choice in the scheme of things, as some have assumed. He concluded that the vision focused on various dangers and how we might be saved from them. Authenticity of Marian apparitions. The Secrets of Fatima and the Apparition of Mary and Fatima is just one out of the many approved appearances of Mary recorded by the Catholic Church. While it's not impossible that some are fabricated, the Church undergoes a series of processes to evaluate their authenticity. A Marian apparition is first subject to evaluation by the bishop of the diocese where it occurred, and may also be subject to further evaluation according to the Vatican, with an assessment of the character and person of the person who claims to experience them. Now let's explore some of the most popular apparitions. Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared in 1531 to Saint Juan Diego and asked that a church be erected in her honor, the Church of San Juan Diego. When he wasn't believed, she arranged flowers in his cloak on his 4th apparition experience. When he went back again to raise the petition, something interesting happened. The flowers fell off his cloak when he opened it, and the image of Our Lady could be seen on the fabric. A basilica now stands in Mexico City in her honor, and the image is still visible there. In another small French town, Saint Bernadette, a young boy received Marian apparitions 18 times. During those times, she would ask people to offer prayers and turn toward God. With her help, the young child also discovered a spring that could miraculously heal people. While she mostly appeared to people with a message, she appeared to Saint Joseph and Saint John in 1879 in the town of Knock. She appeared to them as they stood and prayed in the rain, sending a nonverbal message of peace and comfort to them. A spectacular appearance bearing a deep message to 3 children also happened in Kibesho, Rwanda. Within a space of 8 years between 1981 and 1989, she appeared to them thrice, asking them to pray the rosary thrice daily. She also told them that a tragedy was going to occur. Many believed that the 1994 genocide was the fulfillment of this prophecy. However, in her message to them, she made it clear that her message to them was for the world, not just for Africa or Rwanda alone. In the United States, Adele Breeze also experienced a Marian apparition in 1859, where she was told to pray that sinners would be converted and also teach children nearby about the Catholic faith. Another interesting Marian apparition occurred in 1973, exactly 56 years after her appearance to the Little Shepherds of Fatima. Sister Agnes Sasagawa received the message of Mary, calling the world to repentance and praying the rosary in Akita, Japan. Now this leads to the question, what is the significance of the Marian apparition in Fatima? And what truth has Pope Francis revealed on the third secret of Fatima? Pope Francis and the third secret of Fatima. The third secret of the Fatima reflects the breakout of wars and martyrdoms, and in some way it seems Pope Francis has revealed some subtle truths about this third secret. He made it clear as he declared that World War III had begun in a piecemeal fashion when he condemned the attack on Paris in November 2015, and again in January 2023. He also made a call to put a stop to what was beginning to look like the start of the Third World War in different parts of the world. This clearly indicates the role of the Pope in the fulfillment of the third secret of Fatima. As Cardinal Ratzinger rightly said, the vision is an indicator of what we should do to enforce change in the right direction. This means it does not directly lay any emphasis on the role of a specific pope, such as Pope Francis, in the fulfillment of these prophecies. Rather, it may reflect the role of the papacy in enforcing change through its successive positions as the world nears its end. The prophecy reveals that the angels continue to cry penance beneath the arm of the cross. This reflects nothing truer as the number of Christian martyrdoms is on the rise. This evidence makes it clear that there is an ongoing war in the world, which may be different from what we've seen in the First and Second World Wars. On separate occasions, the Holy Father, Francis, has made reference to the global wars, stating that it's happening in a piecemeal fashion. He charged his listeners with the need to stop the wars going on around us in places like Syria and Ukraine. Just like it was shown in the third secret of Fatima, he made it clear that wars hurt a lot of people, especially innocent young lives and old people. He shared that there is a need to put a stop to the wars to make the world a safe and happy place to live in. In his charge, he pointed out the need to establish reforms for the people who have been victims of war, for them to live happy lives again. With these, it becomes even clearer that the papacy is truly an agent of change in shaping a future for mankind as revealed in the third secret. Now that this secret has been revealed, what do we know about the fulfillment of other instructions of the Lady? After the series of visions received by the children, Lucia later received another appearance of Mother Mary in 1929, when she received further parts of the secrets of Fatima. It was during this appearance that Senior Lucia again received the request that Russia should be consecrated to her Immaculate Heart. This revelation has led to continuous prayers requesting Mary's intercession for the conversion of Russia. This was done in 1942 by Pope Pius V during the Second World War. These continued to be a practice for succeeding popes, including Pope John Paul II and Pope Francis. The urgency and need to pray the rosary for Russia was born from the rise of the Communist Party, which ultimately denied the existence of God, and the period of Joseph Stalin's reign when he imprisoned and executed millions of people, including Christians. This consecration of Russia was at the heart of the world's peace, as the threat of annihilation remained evident in the face of Russia's nuclear weapons. When Archbishop Tadeusz Kondrusiewicz from Moscow visited Sister Lucia, she asked if he was openly practicing as an archbishop in the city, and when he replied yes, she replied that it meant that the prophecy of Fatima had been fulfilled. Now the archbishop has also shared that the statue of Our Lady of Fatima stands in every church in his country. With the fulfillment of this prophecy, what does this mean for the fulfillment of the third secret? Now that we've explored the Pope's position on the third secret of Fatima, what do you think about the revelation of Saint Lucia and how it applies to our world? Do you think all the instructions have been met? Do you think there are deeper meanings in the context of these secrets? Do share with us in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting videos.